Good evening, everyone. I hope you're doing great. I'm reading from the novel, my novel, chapter two. Its title is "A Spiritual Dream of the Box," chapter two. Serenity is found somewhere between the sky and the sand. Quote catalog.com. Not being used on the changes occurring on the world stage, John went by car, a Mercedes Benz, to a remote area in Zimbabwe, unnamed for fear it should be exploited. That made it mysterious to everyone who ached for visiting the place area. A cluster of hills stretched along green pastures. In between every rock, water poured fluently from nowhere but surely from somewhere. A source had to be hidden amidst bushes of riches and splendidness. A real sense of belonging to the world, nature in its wider sense, homelessness as home, brightness as dimness. That part of it contributed to nakeding John's thoughts and ideas, prejudices he had learnt from institutions where X and Y are boundaries according to which thinking should fit and take place. Total academic sinning of thought. Hills gave the impression of a greatness that must be mysterious to tell and fully uncover. It had to be a myth or a story with some common sense to it, a tone of voice that must have gone as follows. Once upon a time there was a tribe living peacefully. Its members enjoyed galvanizing lights beaming into their life. Socially speaking, the chief of the tribe used to summon his people, citizens, to pour out their grievances and misfortunes on emergency basis. There had to be a problem, maybe and maybe not. Men and women gathered around a long wooden table at about 9 a.m. The talk had to begin as usual. However, this once the chief was not the speaker but a Sufi, Hafiz. He was known for his pure and spiritual poetry, whose words departed from one heart to the whole humanity, striking a tremendous and wide connection with a marvelously naturalistic side and flavor about it. A man in his mid-50s, he had a very tiny beard trimmed carefully, a long white burnous, and a pair of brown glasses. Amidst the group, he was welcomed with a non-stop succession of applauses which enchanted the atmosphere. People were silent and happy about seeing Hafiz. They celebrated their joy in silence. The Sufi started his talk. He handed out flowers to the audience. Flowers were of different colors, namely white and green peace and fertility. Afterwards, he told the audience to dispatch and exchange flowers with the aim of deeply pondering at them. Everyone was shocked at the new pedagogy the Sufi had adopted this time. They were used to gathering round tables of fours and listening to something like a sermon. Why was that change? Some members of the audience dared to ask the Sufi about the new shift of delivering his speech, sharing knowledge. Sir, why have you asked us to dispatch and form groups? A voice dismantled itself amongst the audience. Well, first of all, organization and reflection are very important in any given society. Once these skills are learned, the rest implants and unfolds itself spontaneously. One can never learn anything unless they are exposed to it. To form groups of fours lends itself to negotiating meaning, which is overlooked in the world. Interpretations of the same thing of the same color lead to disastrous disagreements. Negotiating meaning gives birth to a spiritual mutual understanding of the world. Humans whose cultural minds differ a great deal on the surface, structure and context need to know that there are a lot of things in common, congruousness in nature. Any human spirit is radiant, generous to itself and others, and disagreeable at the same time. A harmonious spirit, let us say soul, never gets irritated at differences. They are the spice of life, where everyone gets knowledge which entails much vagueness and ambiguity if taken personally at the psychocultural level, explained the Sufi. Everyone got silent at the Sufi's answer, except John, who enthusiastically applauded him, making himself noticeable to the crowd. The Sufi raised his hand, pointing to John to move to the podium. Everybody started looking at John, knowing it would require courage from him to speak. John accepted. Once near the Sufi, he felt something deep down his chest and whole body. Vibrations made of him a mere human being, unlearned in new cultures, modes of expression, and way of being. He could say nothing apart from his being new to the area. He started having interest in flowers and their fragrances. He looked for books on how flowers could grow and blossom naturally. To his surprise, he observed that flowers blossom differently. Each flower of rose grows up and blossoms according to specific environmental conditions within particular soils and the specific climatic conditions. So, why did the Sufi hand us white and green flowers to ponder? John asked himself. The question remained unanswered in his academic mind. He intended to meet Hafiz to ask for any clarification possible. Nonetheless, never did a master answer such questions easily, for the objective was to push people to think things over, to learn, to conquer a hidden universe inside the spirit and how it works, conspiring for the well-being of the humans who do not know how to listen to inner voices. Something should be within that drives and drags people. It must be a dream to be adventurously fulfilled, an inner journey, or a transformative experience. After quite some time, he thought about his wife, Sophia. He checked his emails, got connected, software. There were no media available except his laptop and a mobile phone whose battery was getting drained of energy bit by bit. A great technological deficiency to it. He was fully aware and anxious of that fact. Technological devices are not to be relied on in remote areas where electricity is not a necessity for life. Technology has its limits, even though so far it has contributed to superficial connections. Posts are made here and there, faces frozily put on screens. A real happy person does not show it, nor do they need to tell it, they just are so. The inhabitants of the Golden Village do not have to tell or show they are happy. Their world view is shaped by nature and strong human ties, real and authentic connections. Photography was not part of their culture, nor did it mean anything to them. They relied on their natural and sharp eyes and memories. Wondrous oral culture, perpetually outpouring. Myths and giants and heroes were their favorite stories. Any oral culture in a given society exorcises individuals of psychological demons haunting them. It livens up their psyches and spirits as to what the extraordinary is. It eradicates limitations pertaining to difficulties noticeable in every situation one may face. A light shows up, paving the way for any energy to lit up one's life, a dream. A second meeting was scheduled. The whole tribe was notified to attend. John was more than eager to be part of the talk landscape. The same talk was given by the Sufi. It was about trees this time and how they grow and blossom. It was a 15-minute talk. After having done with the talk on the part of Hafiz, John decided to meet with him. Indeed, they met one another. While talking, John unfolded a map before Hafiz, which was of the area where fate happened to bring them together. Hafiz asked John what he was doing there. He replied that he was conducting a fieldwork research on the area, the Golden Village, its people, and its manuscripts, if available, for it seemed obvious that it was a fully oral culture. John needed to study the socio-anthropological side of the tribe of which Hafiz was the spiritual chief. "Have you written anything so far?" asked Hafiz. "Yes, I have," replied John. "What is it about?" Hafiz re-asked. "Well, this is my first week here. I have recognized that people in this area have a very nice and sociable way of relating to one another. I cannot understand the language they speak. I have learnt a few vocab items from here and there, but I can manage my journey through scrutinizing works of art which portray people's psyches and mindsets," explained John. "Great. Yet such scholarly research is incomplete, for it lacks in something about it. It cannot tell you about it. I cannot tell you about it now. By the way, have you given a thought to the flowers I offered the audience?" asked Hafiz. "Yes, I have," John distressingly answered. "Great, my son. Flowers should be taken as a metaphor for life. Some see them as offspring of nature, others regard them as symbols of inner growth. A flower is similar to life. It grows in healthy environments. It flourishes in caring hands and hearts. It blossoms and gets into noses, waking the smell dimension. Hence, assign it a sensation of vibrating intelligence. Nonetheless, what you make of it is who and what you are. Your study of these people touches on their self image. How you present them is an important feature of your research. Are you sure what you are doing is revelatory of you as an ego or of them as human beings?" clarified Hafiz extensively. John got shocked at Hafiz's words, naked and natural wisdom. He promised that he'd do his best to be objectively unbiased in his study and research on the area and its people. Contrary to his will, intention, and determination, something strange haunted his mind. A whole set of interlinked questions hovered over his research and journey into the codes of life. A dream mildly showed up in the form of a box where one word flew out of it. Out of nowhere in his mind, he started giving thoughts to death as an end to life. Things he liked doing, but repressed them, erected themselves. What he could have done could once again be thought of and done, for there was a lot of time on his hands to do that, but he had to live up to his dream of getting what he wanted from life. Perhaps a great feasting from life is going to materialize itself with the help of his will and risk taking. Well, that's reading from chapter 2. I hope it's enjoyable. Now, take care. See you while reading from the same novel, my novel, chapter 3. Thank you so much.